similar economies to ours, like Australia and Canada, have made the best of it. And our weakness is that we normally talk our mining capacity down, as if we can destroy mining with the hope that something new will come in its place. That is the noisy nature of South Africans. South Africans think that they can destroy what they have. Something nice will come from somewhere in heaven. And my own view is that mining is quite an important sector for the economy. After 130 years of active mining, it is still contributing 7% to the GDP, and my own view is that it can contribute up to 10% within the next 5 years if it is managed properly. Now, and it contributes about 40% to the foreign earnings of the country. 7% to the GDP, but 40% to foreign earnings. It means that it is actually one of the sectors that sustains our current account. Otherwise, if it was not for mining, we would have a huge current account deficit in the economy. And therefore, it is my considered view that we can grow contribution of mining to the GDP. But if we want to realize that there are few things that we should do, the first thing, the industry itself must take pride in itself and continue to strive to develop and articulate a more positive narrative about itself without exaggerating its positives. It is mining that must say, we are a sector, we are a contributor to the economy, and articulate a positive narrative about yourself. Don't talk yourself down and hope that other people will respect you. Secondly, the sector must actively challenge the negative narrative against it. There is a very strong narrative against mining, and it's growing. And half the time, mining is silent when everybody punches it everywhere. You know, I was reading the conversation in UCT where actually Professor Trollip almost said it must disappear. Mining must disappear. We must not issue mining licenses for coal and so forth, because we're dreaming that something in this place will come. Now, and my argument is that mining must actually take up the negative narrative against itself and consistently engage in the public discourse, because if you're silent, a repeated negative narrative begin to be a truth in the eyes of society because you're silent. The sustainable development, in my understanding, is while exploiting the benefits today, you must ensure that you don't damage the benefits to future generations. Once we actually internalize that theoretical framework for sustainable development, we will appreciate the importance of coexistence of mining with other activities in society. And therefore, this calls for mining to consciously mine responsibly. It needs to coexist with other activities, both in the economic sphere and in the social sphere. So it must not be on the defensive. It must extend its hand, want to coexist with others. We must invest resources in the future we're dreaming about and aspire. This requires a strong leadership at all levels, a leadership that is prepared not to ignore what is in its blind spot. And Jocelyn Davis calls this the blind spot. She described it as the most difficult to avoid. Very difficult to avoid, since not avoiding it usually means opening our eyes to things we don't want to see. Leadership of this industry must be prepared to see things that they don't want to see. and be prepared to listen to advices they don't want to hear. Then it will be a better industry. Thirdly, we must invest resources in the future that we're dreaming about, and that means research and development must be at the heart of building that future. This will include defining the role of mining in the fourth industrial revolution. We must say this is our role. Instead of running for cover every time the term fourth industrial is mentioned, we run for cover. It's a threat to mining. It's not a threat to mining. There's no technology that exists without mining components.
Minister of Mineral Resources Gwede Mantashe opening the Mining Indaba.